to be a rebel, 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 trend rebel, trend rebel, trend rebel, trend rebel.
All right. 1:15. It is time for the 4-hour candle swap. We're going to start over here on the 4-panel chart. Here we have the VIX. VIX is seemingly collapsing at this moment, but don't be fooled. We have a very, very specific shape formation here that is giving us, I think, a false sense of hope that this is actually coming down. My belief is that we continue to hold the channel here from the daily 20, and that should continue to bounce us up. We will likely take back out the 4-hour 9 and the D9. This is going into tomorrow. Tomorrow should be a little bit more of a hectic day due to the fact that we're going to get information out from Warsh and all those decisions. Those decisions don't take place till 2 p.m. So the morning and pre all of that is going to cause some volatility that we're probably not used to seeing here. It's going to be a little bit exaggerated, mostly because Warsh is playing this differently. So this is no longer the usual premeditated, here's what's happening, here's what's coming, that kind of stuff. There are very, very few pieces of information that will come out of these meetings and ahead of time and post. So do not expect any tips, but do expect everybody to be pining for them. So that is why we will have a lot of volatility. You can see on ES2 here, we've got a floor that is just desperate to hold here. This is really couldn't be any more clear. 74.12 is the bottom. Coming into today, the overnight, we had yesterday's drop, we had the overnight settlement, we have today's little bit of a pop, but we really haven't taken much. In fact, the breakdown from yesterday in trend, you can see we are still below that level, even though we popped above it before, where we were rejected by the weekly 9. So we still have some punishment coming here in this. I don't see quite the recovery yet that we all want. I was hopeful today that the bottom of that 4-hour on SPY would have continued to give us the direction that we wanted to get that over with, push us down here. Obviously, we've got a big space here to get down here, having come off of highs not too long ago. We do have a lot of room here, and the SMAs are all stacked from being rushed up behind us downward now. So we've got 4-hour 9, weekly 9, daily 9, 4-hour 50, daily 50, 4-hour 20, daily 20, everything. Well, daily 20 is actually in support, but everything else is now turned and down. So we are not going to punch out of this in 3 seconds. Actually, that'd be the only way we can punch out of this is in 3 seconds with some sort of a geopolitical noise or something like that. But as far as us just being able to climb through this in the steps, it's not going to happen. Tomorrow is not going to be the news that everybody was hoping to hear from Warsh. No, he's not probably going to raise interest rates. He's probably going to keep things the same and be neutral. However, that neutralness may have a tinge of confirmation towards October's rates raising, which would bring the speculative theory out there on the poly markets of around 65%, probably push it over into the 80s, which will drop the market a little bit. Currently, the dollar is gaining support. It's actually losing support right this moment, but it's going to gain support here through this, which will also push stocks down further. Just want to see something if my... it's not following me. Okay. Here's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin did lose again 63,800. We've talked about this some time. This is kind of the channel that we'd like to stay out of. We tried to pop up on it earlier in the day. The current candle has us reaching back in, and this is going to stabilize here for the moment until we get into the overnight session, in which point in time I believe we will actually start to see the London market and potentially even the Asian markets give this a little bit pushed down there. Back over to the oil chart, or my war chart, I like to call it. You can see the day here. Started out with our drop on down to these levels here, lower than the London low. We beat it just by a little bit. And then the recovery was very, very mixed. Mixed recovery coming up with a nice piece of trend pushing us there. We had 5 minute support. We had a lot of support here going through this. All that has now just lost. So we will see if the dip down recovery here brings us back down to those lows or settles out in the middle like it usually does. Typical days, we will see this area here over by the VWAP consumed by any dips here. We've had some spikes in the across the day too, which have given us kind of rises to see if this is going to push higher. I think they're geopolitical in nature. Oil is now in the 78, so you can see that this has dropped down since around 11 o'clock this morning, giving us a lot more energy to create this rise right here. But again, like I had said earlier, I do believe this is a little bit of false hope. I do believe we're going to have some difficulty going into tomorrow, especially up and until 2 p.m. when they release interest rate decisions. Here's SPY on the daily chart. So while we're pushing up and this may feel euphoric right here, we are still having difficulty even getting to the bottom of the channel. It was a steep channel, mind you, so I'm aware of that difficulty, but our bottom here growth is very, very minor. I don't see this as set. I think we have more to go. I'd like to see the bottom, or I should say the midpoint of this channel tested. And then I believe we'll get down to this midpoint, test this, and then we will push higher for a couple of weeks. And we'll do another top like this. It'll be a nice run like this, kind of on up. Do we break all-time highs again? I'm not sure. We could. I'll see as soon as we spin and I get that bottom set and I understand that trajectory, I'll be able to point that out prior to looking like the end of August, middle to end of August, maybe a little bit of a pullback, a little harder pullback actually down back into this territory here. We've managed to hold all this for quite some time here on this, but as you can see, this trajectory looks like it was broken here. We're going to have a little bit of a spot in there. On the Qs, targeting monthly 9. We got halfway there this morning from yesterday, so this is very, very possible. We would need some more chip action in the downward trend to help push us there. Looks like we're getting some from Soxel. Nvidia is also look like it's topping out for the day, and we'll see that pressure down here. This will be brief. This week will be brief. We will get down into the range and then we will pop back out and see this. So here's NVIDIA. Pointed out the range to head towards and then lower from here from this morning. I am looking to see that happen sooner than later so we can get out of that. Obviously, massive drop on yesterday, and we're going into what's kind of like a post spike, post drop spike, but we're not getting a lot of traction here. We haven't even taken out the 4-hour 200, 4-hour 50. Forget the fact that the 4-hour 9 is all the way up here. This is somewhat less enthusiastic than I would expect to see here. So a little bit of a push. Again, looking at it on the 5-minute really tells the whole story. You can see yesterday's close. You can see our kind of drop in this morning and then our kind of recovery back into that yesterday close area. We haven't really done much since yesterday. Soxel on the dip here. Nice touch back to back test down to the 4-hour 370. That was good. So pushing down below the monthly 9, excellent to see. So we get that out of the way. However, I don't think we hold there quite yet. We are almost settling this bottom here for Soxel. I know everybody is in anticipation of it. I did try to run here on the daily chart for Soxel to take a look at the last time we penetrated the monthly 9 like this before. That was at the April, or I should say May 31st April low, May 30th low here, driving into April, and this is what we got after that. I don't see that same return happening here right now, and but I do know that the monthly 9 will be back tested. So once we lose that, if we lose it even further, we'll be able to pull it back. So I am looking for a D200 back test here, and then pushing higher for short term. Bounce up into the weekly 9 area, up into here, where the daily 50 is, then a push back down, and then we go up higher from there. So Soxel's got a little bit of a rocky road to head, but come a couple of months from now, we should be heading up into some pretty good highs here. and actually could be even sooner than that. We could spike up in the next week and a half up to 248, 260s range. So looking for that consensus there. On excuse me, on Micron, here we are. So set a new low here too, which is good. So now we've got kind of a trend you can follow directly on this one here too. So now we've got kind of a baseline here for that to go. That will bring us probably to the 4-hour 200 as well. This will move a little bit faster, likely tomorrow. I don't think we get the monthly 9 out of Micron. I think it's got too much support. So probably right in this range here before we spike back up and try to take out these levels. I do anticipate Micron taking out trend. So 4-hour 9 drops here and here. We should rise above those at the same as soon as we start that process here. But we first need to touch back down in the area here as I just described. CRDO, get rid of these drawings here. Where am I? I should be here. There we go. There we go. CRDO. So looking at CRDO, real tough day yesterday. Nice bounce back too. Always gives us like a 10-point range. This one is a day trader's dream. So the problem is that it's not a dream for everybody who is trying to trade on the who's trying to trade it this long. We've definitely got some bottom formation to do here. Let's just flip over to the daily chart so I can give you kind of that theoretical of what's happening here. This looks good. So we're at the close point here. If it has to go to the monthly 9 to follow the market, I think it will. I don't think that's out of the question at all. We will then have a back test that is supportive of the D200 here. Monthly 9 plotted is going to give us that same breakpoint down here as well. So this looks good from the bouncing standpoint. We're just going to set a new trend line going forward. Fortunately, we have lost this one for good. That will not be regained because the elevation required to get there is not feasible. But what we can do is we can look for in steps, taking some of these SMAs as they come down and start building up back up our position. This will correct in terms of fixing this downward pressure here. This is a really solid area for us. So looking at the bottom 165-ish range. Let me just plot a line on here and then I'll move it into position. So that's really kind of your floor. If we get that low below sorry, right there. If we get that low below the D200 and 40370, then we do have room to get all the way down to 134, which isn't super strong either. We're looking even lower than that. This is going to hold though. CRDO's bottom is right in this range. So we are close to that. For adjusting positions and everything else, this is what we're looking for. If we bounce out from where we are now and take out this first layer of SMAs, then this is where I would add and be exiting if we lose these. You guys have to exit when we lose these SMAs. Otherwise, you're holding the bag for everybody else, and you become everybody else's liquidity. You cannot do that. CoreWeave. So this is still in the shitter. We are still in that channel here. Let me just extend the channel down. Let's see if I can get it on that line up there. Almost had it. There it is. Perfect. So we still have ways to go on this channel for CoreWeave in order to mitigate that. Here, we are getting to all-time lows. I believe we're pretty darn close to it. So anyway, this is going to be a problem. CoreWeave recovery for CoreWeave is going to be a long road, or it's going to be catalyst protected. So we need to find the bottom of that. I'm not going to touch this right now. I think we need another quarter of revenue and pressure on the on Meta and Google and those guys to see what they're doing with their so-called extra processing capability. I don't think this all works out that way. So CoreWeave, I think, will come back in strong at the end here. AMD, so look at that. What a bounce off rejection here. Coming on down, we have targets here, probably at the weekly 20 here again as well. I'm going to move that out of the way in order to get there. That trend line was lost. What a break, though. Yesterday pushed us down, gave us a nice rundown. Here we are on a new 4-hour candle just forming here. We have earnings. Okay, in a couple next week we have earnings for AMD. So earnings, I don't see any reason why AMD earnings should be treated any differently than anybody else. So if that is true, then this would be a highly anticipated short from here at least, and probably worth taking. But I don't never like to short the bottom or short support. So we are at some breakpoints here. 460 needs to be lost in order for that to to actually come into position. It was lost and regained here. So until 420 loses, you've got your instructions right here on that. Oh, also on Soxel, I do have your instructions here for that too on Soxel as well. You need to read these and look at them. They're right on your chart. They're there for a reason. Um, we didn't do Tesla. So Tesla, I was trying to talk to you guys this morning. I needed 292 and then a bounce out and we'll push. Tesla will beat at its own drum continuously here too. So don't look for this to be easy. Looking for Tesla to probably tomorrow break and get down into this range before we actually see it start to recover. Definitely expecting that. SpaceX, I had some drawings on here earlier, but expecting kind of a back test of the 4R9s here, and then we will lose all that. So this kind of piece here, we could go higher. SpaceX could go higher. They had their launch. They sent some more Starlink up there. We've got a whole pile of things, positive news here, but we're still overvalued. So whatever we take on this upside here will be brief, and brief could be a week or so. So my short is not time dependent. I bought the leveraged indices going down, which is the SSPC. So I'm not really concerned one way or the other in that position, but still looking for my trajectory down into the 80s with a hard stop at 100 and then a relook in the 90s. So that's what we're looking for there. But that's basically, and then you're going to have to get price. Price action is what it is. So you got to play it, right? Apple here. So Apple's in its new candle. Actually, I think it's running a 24. Yeah, this is running a 24-hour candle here. 24-hour candle pattern. So we are in the 12 o'clock candle here. Pushed up, new all-time high again today for Apple. Reached up, smacked down. Yesterday's high is where we needed to close above. By the time we get to the close of the day, we do have, excuse me, a 4R9 bundle here that we can take a look at in terms of support. So any pullbacks will be supported. This is the similar structure we had here. Is the push up, a little bit of setback down. It took us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in that downward trend with the spike back up. Expect something similar here. Not because that pattern is so recent, but just because the formation and the time frame for all of this is falling right into play with everything else. So at that point, though, once we complete that journey, a little bit of pullback, right, resting at a little higher level, so a higher trajectory here, probably 328, 333-ish. Then we will start to our pushback higher again. So lots of setups coming into play, guys. We need to be aware of all these setups that are going to be ripe for us in the next couple of days. By Thursday, I expect you guys to have positions picked out and ready for entries, if not earlier, depending on how tomorrow goes. Netflix, this one's tough. It's such a wreck. The setup was there. We talked about it here. We also talked about the fact that it's been such a nightmare to play. So it wasn't really worth the run. It got its spike though. Finally, this was the play at the end of the day to run it here. We have not hit the squeeze play yet though too. So at the weekly 9 here, we could see the opportunity for that as well. I will look to see if we take the weekly 9. I will look to see if there's an entry here for us to push that up as well. Google, Google, coming right back with a vengeance. So Google's trying to fire on. Oops, sorry, I need to move that out of the way. Get some drawings out of the way here. I don't know what's mine and what's there. Okay, just that. So spiking back up. Google trying to take position here. Am I not sharing with anybody? I'm not sharing with you guys. Nobody said anything. You guys. So silly. Sorry. It'll be in the recording, but I can't believe this is. I forgot that. Sorry. I am so sorry. Sorry for you guys watching live and not seeing what I'm showing you. My apologies. All right, so anyway, sorry for the distraction here. Google 335s. So Google has the potential to push on through this because it is past its earnings piece, but I believe market tension will give that pressure back. We will get the 4-hour 9 turning tomorrow, more than likely, and at that point we'll see a back test and we'll be able to ride this up. So if you're looking for a Google play, it's coming with support, and that's what we want. We want to buy the support instead of where we've been. Meta, this is tougher. Um, Definitely setback here. We still have the SMA clusters above us. We're below the overnight low. We're not in prime real estate area here for Meta yet. We need to actually start taking some of these SMAs out before we can start considering it. And I don't think the market is done punishing this situation yet either. So we're going to have a little bit of room left here on Meta. As far as the leaps, let's take a look across the board here. So Riot, the leap buy was here 1744. We've got a pullback here. Definitely still looks ripe. I like Riot because it's self-contained power. It powers a good portion of its own enterprise internally, which is good and different than all the other miners. BBAI, I think we're at the low here. So I think BBI is if it's not here, it's pretty darn close. Great positioning for the leaps here. And then this one is actually going to be pretty good hold for like 3 months, I think, until we start looking at converting this one out. Rich Tech fell sour a little bit down here. We got a little bit lower than I thought we'd get to. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, leaps are pretty cheap down here too. I think you're $35 a leap. So easy to down DCA on these or add some more positions. These are always something that I look at as adders where you can put a little bit, sprinkle a little bit on there, and then you can continue to, once we start gaining ground, we can start selling them off in the same way. Sound holding steady. So this has done quite well in the downturn here. And I think this is going to be ripe to be one of our higher performing leaps as we continue forward. There's nothing really to analyze here. It's not a fast mover. So it's going to move in its pace. And we'll just say we are below the 4-hour 9. The chart doesn't look any particularly beautiful or anything. It's in a bad spot here in positioning on the chart, but that's where you want to buy your leaps with the anticipation of the actual company taking over and doing something to bring us to the other end of it. So that is that. But this is I got to update all my charts with the pointers. And here we are on T triple Q. Very, very similar to the Qs here. Lost the monthly 9, bounce 4 out 370, D200 really close. This looks like it looks so tight to be a bottom, but I just think we've got one more day of volatility before we can actually call this out. And again, we're going to leave the week in an upward trajectory. Is my plan here. So that's how we look at that. I'm going to go back over here to show you guys the new candle. So here's our fresh candle on SPY. It's above by attrition, the 4-hour 9. So we have opened up above it, which would normally give us support. We do have a huge pile of SMA structures here. So want to be cognizant that this is a big group. So that big group of SMAs keeping us down pressure on. We do have, like I said, we have the 4-hour 9 right here. That could help and give us support here. But ultimately, I think that this structure here is going to be lost, and we're going to get a little bit of an opportunity to get into the downward pressure here, where we could get a buying opportunity before we head on up. ES still, again, it's not able to take the weekly 9. Every rejection is a count in the other direction, and VIX, while it continues to plunder down here, it may even wick below. I think we see it generally hold this type of a trend going up into tomorrow and hopefully see that spike out so we can get everything kind of calmed down and in play. That's everything for right now. I am going to venture to guess that I hope that my internet is better for you guys today and you can hear more. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to type or talk. And I will do my best to answer your questions. And again, apologies for not sharing on here. I blame I blame you guys. MHM. Now, Big Daddy was here earlier. I blame him, but he left. He usually always tells me that my charts aren't there. So anyway, guys, does anybody have any questions or anything? All right. I am going to post this up then real quick so you guys can actually see everything that I was talking about while you were here. And again, my apologies for not getting that out and done. All right.
Market goes down, and you lose like a clown. You're